Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new, hi, I'm Cherise. Welcome to The Good Life. Boy of Legend, Peter Pan. Oh, it's a little bit dusty. Jamie is a guy. I thought Jamie was a girl. Wyatt Jones. Who? A mystery man who dates his victims before he kills them. As you read by the title, today's video is going to be a book haul. We're starting off the year very strong. I have a couple books that I accumulated at the ending of last year. The first book we have in this haul is Say You'll Remember Me by Abby Jimenez. This was released last year. I do have an entire stack of her books. I love her books so much. I'm not sure if this is like interconnected to her previous series that has Parts of Your World, yours truly, and Just for the Summer, or if it's just like a standalone, but I have to read to obviously figure that out. I'm also not 100% sure what this book is about, if I'm going to be brutally honest. I just buy her books because I know that I'll enjoy them. Let's read what this is about together. There might be no such thing as the perfect guy, but Xavier Rush comes disastrously close. A gorgeous veterinarian giving Greek god vibes all while cuddling a tiny kitten? Immediately yes. That is until he opens his mouth and proves that even sculpted gods can say the absolute wrong thing. But there's nothing Samantha loves more than proving men wrong. Unless he can admit he made a mistake. But after one incredible date, possibly the best in living history, Samantha is forced to admit the truth that any kind of relationship would be impossible. She begs Xavier to forget about her, to remember their night together as a perfect moment, as crushing as it may be. Only no amount of distance or time is nearly enough to forget that something between them. So, I guess this is, I don't want to say forbidden romance, but what exactly would the tropes of this book be considered? Oh, right person, wrong time. Maybe something like that. But I do love all her books and I'm really excited to read. Not gonna lie, I haven't seen that many reviews because I was kind of dodging them. I didn't want to hear any reviews about this book, so to be determined whether or not I like this book. But this is the first one. Then I have Never by Jessa Hastings. I have been wanting to read this book for the longest time. I love the Magnolia Park series. I have talked about that series multiple times here on my book channel, and this was one of her new releases from last year. I believe the only thing I know about this book is that it's a Peter Pan retelling, or it's like loosely based on Peter Pan. So let's read together. There's a boy of legend in the tales passed down in my family. The boy lived in a faraway land tucked behind a star, where pirates were still true, mermaids didn't hide, and fairies flew through the air like autumn leaves on a windy day. He took my mother there, just like he took my grandmother and my great-grandmother, just as he would come for me. Swept away from her life in London to a place beyond the stars, Wendy's granddaughter Daphne is torn between the boy of legend, Peter Pan, whose fate is irrevocably intertwined with her family's, and Jem Hook, the pirate who has captured her heart against all her better judgment. Filled with hope and heartbreak, beauty and betrayal, dreams and devastating reality, Never asks, can we ever be free while holding on to the past? And what would happen if just once we truly let go? Cover is really pretty. So let's move on. Next, we have Beg, Borrow, or Steal. This is actually one of the books on my January TBR. If you've watched that video, I chose it from my prompt drawer. And this is actually an Enemies to Lovers. This is part of the interconnected series that has When in Rome and Practice Makes Perfect. I do really like those two previous books, so I'm hoping to love this one as well. They're both second grade teachers, Emily and Jack, and they're arch nemesis. They hate each other, or so they say. Then Jack decides to buy a house right next to her unknowingly, and I guess they're gonna fall in love, isn't it? It's a romance book. Moving on, we have The Boyfriend by Frida McFadden. I really tried to get this off, or maybe I didn't try hard enough. Let's just ignore, I was trying to take the price off, and yeah, it's a disaster. But this is The Boyfriend by Frida McFadden. I have literally three unread books by her, and I got gifted this one. So lovely. On the front it says, is he the man of your dreams or your worst nightmare? Sydney Shaw, like every single woman in New York, has terrible luck with dating. She's seen it all. Men who lie in their dating profile, men who stick her with the dinner bill, and worst of all, men who can't shut up about their mothers. But finally she hits the jackpot. Her new boyfriend is utterly perfect. He's charming, handsome, and works as a doctor at a local hospital. She's swept off her feet. Then the brutal murder of a young woman, the latest in a string of deaths across the coast, confounds police. The primary suspect? A mystery man who dates his victims before he kills them. Sydney should feel safe. After all, she's dating the man of her dreams, but she can't shake her own suspicions that the perfect man may not be as perfect as he seems, because someone is watching her every move, and if she doesn't get to the truth, she'll be the killer's next victim. That sounds very interesting. Actually, a lot of her books have like really good plot lines to them, or like good plots, so hopefully we'll get around to reading this very soon. Next, we have Out of the Woods by Hannah Bonham Young. I have read 2 books by her. They were interconnected. I think this one is interconnected to Out on a Limb, which I haven't read. That's her most popular book. This is about a couple who's currently going through a rough time in their marriage, and in order to try and keep their marriage together and not go down the path of divorce, they decided to sign up for an outdoor retreat type of thing. What is it called? An outdoor retreat. It's basically where they go off the grid into the woods. They go camping. It says Out of the Woods. That's so they go into the woods with other couples, and they are just trying to figure out their marriage. I have not seen any reviews on this, to be brutally honest, so to be determined whether I like this or not. But yeah. Next I have, oh, it's a little bit dusty. Next I have Hamnet by Maggie O'Farrell. Now I was actually gifted this book as well, and when I was gifted it, I was like, sounds very interesting. I'll get around to reading it one day. It says it won the Women's Prize for Fiction in 2020. I've seen a lot of book girlies share this on their page like the ending of last year, and I was like, oh, I have that book, I have to read it. I think it was recently made into a movie as well, don't quote me on that, but I think it was. It just says, on a summer's day in 1596, a young girl in Stratford upon Avon takes her bed with a sudden fever. Her twin brother Hamnet searches everywhere for help. Why is nobody at home? Their mother Agnes is over a mile away in the garden where she grows medicinal herbs. Their father is working in London. Neither parent knows that Hamnet will not survive the week. Okay. Hamnet is a novel inspired by the son of a famous playwright, a boy whose life has been all but forgotten, but whose name was given to one of the most celebrated plays ever written. Okay, sounds very interesting. Intrigued. We might read this together in a reading vlog. And we have Breathless by Jennifer Niven. And I do think this is a YA book. It says from the best-selling author of All the Bright Places. Is that a movie? I'm not 100% sure if that's a movie, but I do think this is YA. It says Claudine Henry was supposed to be spending the summer before college hanging out with her best friend, going on a road trip of a lifetime, and maybe hooking up with a smoldering-eyed Wyatt Jones. Who? Instead, after her father drops a bombshell that he's leaving them, she's exiled to a remote Georgia island with her heartbroken mother and no chance of a romance until she meets Jeremiah, free-spirited, mysterious, and beautiful. Their chemistry is immediate and irresistible. They both know that whatever they have can only last a summer, but maybe one summer is enough. Oh, that sounds very interesting. This sounds like a very good summer read. So it's currently winter where I live, so next book. Then I have Under the Lemon Tree by Emma Cowell. It says, can one Greek summer heal all the secrets of the past? Okay. Shattered by the sudden loss of her twin, Nick, Kat is lost in grief. The comfort of family feels both soothing and suffocating, but everything changes when she inherits a house on the breathtaking Greek island of Agistri from a mysterious uncle she's never met. Arriving on Agistri, Kat is mesmerized by its crystalline waters, lush pine forests, and citrus-scented air. Among the whitewashed houses and warm, welcoming locals, she begins to feel her heart heal. The island offers more than solace, inspiring courage in Kat to face her loss and maybe even embrace the spark of unexpected love. But as she unearths her family's buried past, Kat must also confront her own fears of belonging, forgiveness, and the possibility of rediscovering happiness in the shadow of heartbreak. Okay, This sounds like a really good summer read as well, and the cover, it literally looks like a summer book. Next we have Out of the Ordinary by Tim Morfin. This is also on my January TBR. This is a Christian book. The problems that many children in the UK face can seem insurmountable. When Tim Morfin arrived in Bradford, no one could have predicted how God would use him and a group of ordinary people to inspire a movement in the church. This book is about God's vision that a generation of struggling children should know his love, acceptance, and healing through the most powerful means possible, the local church. Very excited to read. Then I have My Sister Lives on the Mantelpiece by Annabelle Pitcher. I thrifted this book. I wasn't 100% sure about it, but it sounded interesting. So it says, 10-year-old Jamie hasn't cried since it happened. Jasmine cried, Mom cried, Dad still cries. Roger didn't, but then he is just a cat and didn't know Rose that well. 5 years on, it's worse than ever. Dad drinks, Mom's gone, and Jamie's left with questions that he must answer for himself. Okay, Jamie is a guy. I thought Jamie was a girl. Jamie's a guy, and I mean, maybe his sister died. My Sister Lives on the Mantelpiece. I think that kind of makes sense, isn't it? But very intrigued to read this book. Then I have How Do You Like Me Now by Holly Bourne. And I was actually going to read this book some time ago, but I was like, let me wait. I think I might enjoy it when I'm actually in the mood for it. So it says, everyone wants to be Tori Bailey. A straight-talking, best-selling author, she's inspired millions of women around the world with her self-help memoir and uplifting posts online. What's more, her perfect relationship with her long-term boyfriend is the envy of all their friends. But Tori isn't being honest. While everyone around her is getting engaged and having babies, Tori's boyfriend will barely look at her, let alone talk about marriage. And when her best friend Dee unexpectedly falls in love, Tori's in danger of being left behind. Tori's built a career out of living her best life, but is she brave enough to admit it's not what she wants? I feel like I would really enjoy this book. I just need to be in the right mood for this. If you're a reader, you know that you definitely need to be in like a specific mood to read specific books. Otherwise, you will not enjoy them and you'll just be like, oh, that was really bad. The last book of this haul, it is Sunrise by the Sea by Jenny Colgan. I have a book by this author. Oh, I do have a book by this author which I have not read. Meet Me at the Cupcake Cafe. That sounds cute. Anyway, this book, what is this book about? Good question. When she is given the opportunity to move to a remote tidal island off the Cornish coast, Marisa Rossi decides some peace and quiet might be just what she needs. Since the death of her beloved grandfather back in Italy, she's been struggling to find a way out of her grief. Perhaps this will be the perfect place for her to recuperate. But Mount Polbe is a far cry from the sleepy little place she was imagining. Between the noisy piano teacher and Russian neighbor and the hustle and bustle of a busy community, Marisa finds solitude is not as easy to come by, especially when she finds herself somehow involved with a tiny local bakery, desperately in need of some new zest to save it. What did I say in love? I read way too many romance books. But how stunning is the hardcover of this book? It is so pretty. I love. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed this book haul. I seemed a little bit clueless where a lot of these books were concerned because a lot of them were gifted to me, but I love a good book haul. Hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video. My baby brother is at my door and I'm gonna let him in.